Hello, it's Classy here, back with another Tribes video, and today I will be doing a 5-star Your Hashirama showcase. So, since this is such a legendary character from the Naruto universe, the expectations for his unit were pretty high, so let's start off by reviewing the art. I think this 5-star art looks really good because it showcases his wood style abilities with the dragon in the background, and it also has a lot of green, which shows his affinity with nature. And if you look at the animated version, there's like a lot of bright lights that reflect off of his armor and headband, which all add to the whole image, and it looks really nice overall. So this is a URT unit, level 88, tier 16, with 68,000 power. And here are his stats. Right off the bat, we can see that most of the stats are pretty balanced. Nothing sticks out too much and nothing is too low. So he definitely has good critical rate, good guard rate, a good damage increase rate. So that's attack and defensive stats. And the other stats are pretty much in the 20s, which is just pretty normal. Nothing too crazy about these stats. Now for the link bonuses, you're going to see a lot of Hokages and Kages. So Tobirama, Hiruzen, 2nd and 3rd Hokages. Tsunade and Minato, 4th and 5th. They should put Minato like in front of Tsunade, I guess. Now we have Naruto and Yamato, which I guess they could have done Hokage Naruto and Kakashi maybe for 6th and 7th, but either way it still makes sense kind of, because Yamato had his genes, I think, so that makes sense. Now for this character specifically, he has some tribe specials with Tobirama and Tobirama Hiruzen. So 2-man tribes usually are not used because they mess up rotations after you use them, because only 2 units will be rotating out, and it's just pretty bad design. I wish they just made 2-man tribes rotate all 3 units, even if one of them is not in the tribe. But here is the tribe. Basically just does single target damage, lowers guard rate, increases chakra, boosts guard rate for allies, and damage reduction rate, guard damage reduction rate as well for all allies. So it has some permanent buffs which are pretty strong. They're defensive as well. It also gives chakra, which is really nice. But this is a 2-man, so it's probably not going to be very useful. If it did have any use, like let's say if it was a 3-man, probably Abyss, where the defensive stats help. Now for the 3-man tribe, single target damage, with 30% extra damage when attacking first, which is really useful. Most of the time when you're doing PvE, you'll be going first, because the PvE bosses don't really have that much speed, and this also lowers the target's damage reduction rate by 44%, so you can do a lot more damage to them in the event that you don't finish them off. It also boosts all allies' damage increase rate by 24% permanently, and critical rate by 36% permanently. So this is actually a really good tribe. The only issue is you have to upgrade Hiruzen, but if you did, then you should be all set, and you can use this tribe in place of some other tribes if you need to. Now let's go on to his actual kit. So this is the moment we've been waiting for. You know, this is the legendary first Hokage, really strong in the anime. So did they accurately translate that into the game? We're about to find out. So his jutsu is the Deep Forest Bloom. The animation for this, we'll get to it, but it's not that good compared to Tobirama's. So he'll do single target jutsu damage with 55% extra damage when his HP is 50% or below. Increases allies' tribe gauge by 30 on the next turn. Lowers all enemies' attack by 14% and all enemies' damage reduction rate by 14%. So for the attack and damage reduction rate effects, it will only apply on the turn that this is used and the turn right after. So no permanent effects for this jutsu. It's honestly not that bad. It does single target damage, which is alright, and the 55% extra damage is actually quite a lot, but it's not consistent to get this effect all the time, because you never know, like, if he's just going to die or if he's actually going to survive with enough HP, since he's a T unit as well. And the tribe gauge is always useful because we don't have too many units that do that. So this is definitely something that helps this character out. And honestly, the debuffs are decent, but they're really not that special. Like, there are a lot of debuffers in this game. This one does affect all enemies, but it's not permanent, so it will only apply for a little bit. And probably not the greatest jutsu abilities I've seen. Now for a second skill, basically just does second skill damage and increases chakra by 3700, which is really useful because we're going to get to his vitality later. And he will have some kind of chakra problems. It kind of depends on the mode as well, but in general he'll have more chakra problems than the other units. And for his fourth skill, he boosts all active allies damage increase rate by 18% if he's active at the start of the turn, and all active allies damage reduction rate by 22% if he's active at the start of a turn. Remember that these effects only apply for the current and the following turn. So no permanent buffs. It's honestly not very exciting, or not that great. It only affects 3 active allies for a little bit of time. The numbers are decent, but I think there are units with better fourth skills. There are 2 units with better like buffs for the allies. So it's like very generic, it's very standard, but standard doesn't always cut it nowadays. And you can't really call the first Hokage's ability standard. Now for his chakra, it's the 3 chain attack one, so that means it's going to be more inconsistent than the other vitalities because you're not always going to land a 2 or 3 chain. So for PvE, the orders are randomized, so it's pretty unlikely you're going to be landing that kind of chain. And for PvP, there's a lot of stuns, confuse, etc. that will mess your rotation up, so you're probably not going to get those chains as well. And that makes this vitality not very good, probably the worst one. But there are specific modes like Ninja World Tournament where this works really well because you only have 1 cell. So you're always going to be hitting 3 chains and 2 chains. Now for his Limit Break, he'll do boost critical rate and guard rate for the user and all allies in the same 3-minute cell for the rest of the battle. So it's basically just a few more generic buffs, but this time it will last for the rest of the battle. But again, it only affects the 3-man cell, and this part actually applies at the beginning of the battle. So that makes it pretty decent, just a small boost at the beginning of the battle. I don't remember the numbers, but I don't think they're that high. But it's still a pretty good Limit Break skill. But overall, from the kit alone, this unit is definitely not going to like excel. It's a decent unit, but I feel like it doesn't do enough at this point in the game. And yeah, shout out to Scope Kitty. You saw his profile, but he's from server 16 and he is the one providing the clips. But let's see Hashirama in action. From the kit alone, I would say he's mostly useful for areas where you need a tribe gauge booster, so like Abyss ATB could use him, and also for Ninja World Tournament because he does pretty good buffs, but they affect the 3-man cell, and his vitality also needs 3 chains. So in Ninja World Tournament, you only have 1 3-man cell the whole time, so that's why it works for units like that. And here's the team. Alright, probably going to do some kind of skipping ahead because I don't want this video to be that long. And right off the bat, you saw those effects, but since we don't have Hashirama's Limit Break 2 at the time of recording, his Limit Break 2 effect didn't appear. But if it did, it would appear right now, and it would give a small critical and guard rate boost to the cell that he's in, so the energy cell in this case. And for the team that we're using right now, pretty standard. Santa Sasori with KCM for boosting. Itachi, Minato, and Kakashi. Should be easy to get chakra for some of them. Yeah, Minato does actually a lot of good damage. So does Kakashi, obviously. Here we go. Alright, so we see his fourth skill, Overflowing Charisma. And I believe this was damage increase rate and damage reduction rate, I think, on the active allies, which in this case is the full energy cell. Now when Hashirama uses his jutsu, he's going to do a small attack buff, but also do a small debuff. Actually, no, when he uses his jutsu, he's going to do 2 debuffs. So there's the animation. It's like a forest pollen, and you can see the damage reduction rate down and attack down text. There you go, attack down, damage reduction rate down, and the damage is actually pretty significant if you think about it. So Sasori had full HP, I believe, so he just one-shot him. So that's not bad, that's good showing. And yeah. And now when the opponents hit back, they won't do as much damage. Yeah, so that really did nothing. Okay, that actually didn't do damage to Sai, considering that Sai is a weaker unit, but the stun's pretty bad. But yeah, his HP was not under 50, so he could actually do more damage than that. I wasn't really expecting Sasori to get one shot like that. Maybe the opponent's Sasori hasn't been upgraded that much, but I don't think that's the case. And now the computer is, or the computer and the stun are both messing up the rotations, so now Hashirama's chakra gain will be less from his vitality. Alright, here we go again. Damage increase rate and damage reduction rate, red text. Right, luckily they have enough chakra, but Sai is gone as well. So that means less chakra will be given. And Hashirama might not even be able to get enough chakra. Nice. Naruto does good damage as well. But yeah, the animation, I don't know, I feel like could have looked cooler. I like this part of it, but I don't really like the flowers blooming thing. Looks kind of weird. Doesn't look impactful either. And unfortunately, that was not that much damage. He did guard it though. But yeah, I can't really say Hashirama's job is to be a damage dealer as much. Like for example, Minato is a T unit that can dish out a ton of damage. But yeah, it's kind of weird what Hashirama's real role is. He's kind of like jack of all trades. He does some debuffs. He does some guard rate. He does, yeah, some buffs as well. That's the problem, right? It's not always easy to put him on a team. Okay, well, that's the end of the battle. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, learned something about Hashirama. Give him like a 6 or 7. It kind of depends on what modes we're talking. It's obviously more useful for some modes than others. So, that's the end of the video, and thanks for watching.